What is going on, guys? Lord Valor here, and welcome back to another episode of Lifecast. And we are on episode 28.
Oh,
Ross.
wow.
Yeah. And
I mean, I can't count, so I'll give props to you there.
Ross is like, I just want to go back to kindergarten. No, so we're on episode 28.
Preschool.
We get to cover!
Yeah! I can only see gray, though.
You're colorblind?
No.
Oh.
You fell for it. You
about-
fell for one of the classic blunders.
That was about to be great. So yeah, welcome to another episode of Lifecast, episode 28. We have Ross here.
Yes, hi everyone.
It's Ross, the man who graces his voice with the internet but not his face.
Exactly.
Yes, that's what you're known as now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I shall find every single picture of myself online and delete it.
Yes, because that's how the internet works.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So
I will claim copyright on it and then delete it.
Copyright and delete. So I'm just sitting here drinking my Black Rifle coffee.
Wow.
Not sponsored though. Though they do make good coffee. If you're looking for some good coffee, Black Rifle coffee, the vanilla, it's a medium roast. The greatest stuff, the greatest coffee you will ever have. Ross, I know you're not a big fan of coffee, but
I still have to get used to it. The problem with me with coffee is that I was never introduced to the taste early on. And, like, there are people who've been introduced early on, and then they like it a lot better. And also, it's something you got to work your way into, and I'm not necessarily a big fan of bitter drinks. And I like cold drinks a lot better. Like,
right.
Cold to the point where you don't even taste what it is. You just feel cold.
In your mouth, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm turning into my dad.
I've gotten, it's just when I entered college that I started drinking coffee black. I used to just put sugar in it, but now I just drink it straight black because it's cheaper and I don't have to go buy sugar. But I enjoy the taste of the coffee no matter what.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying coffee's a bad thing. I can put sugar and creamer into it. It's just that it has to be a lot. I have to work my way into it, and I just don't have the time.
I've been drinking coffee since I was like 5, able to hold a glass. I mean, granted, at that point it was more milk than coffee.
Yes.
Because you put more creamer and milk in the coffee than you do actual coffee, but it's still coffee. So, yeah. Just podcasting regular is to have like a blueberry tea or some Black Rifle coffee.
Yeah,
So,
are you done with your blueberry tea?
No, I'm not. I have quite a few for those. It's a superfruit tea, blueberry green.
It's super.
It's really good. I'm like halfway done with it, a little bit over. So it'll be sad when it's gone. I'll have to go to the store and get some more. But
he'll also need a lot of hugs.
Yes, I will cry.
He will cry.
It's like
Joy and I will
comfort him.
Come, not in the way that Jonah is thinking. We'll just give him hugs.
We'll just give him hugs. Yeah, it's good stuff. The Republic of Tea, it's a superfruit tea and it's blueberry green. It's really expensive, but it's worth the $12.
Oh.
Like, I don't know how many bags are in here.
50.
So I've probably used a little over 25.
So that would be what? I need to figure out what price.
And I got it over Christmas, so that's saying something. So from January to now, I've drank it in 25 bags. Or something like that. So.
Oh, wow.
And I have it almost every night. So it's expensive stuff, but it's good. Just like my Black Rifle coffee. So.
Oh, no, No, I did that wrong. 12 divided by 50.
Ross is doing math.
Yeah, so it's 24 cents per packet.
24 cents per packet.
I at first did 50 divided by 12, and then I came up with like $4.16, and I'm like, that doesn't seem
That's
right.
not quite right. No.
That would be $50 for 12.
So what'd you say? It was 24 cents a packet?
Yeah, which isn't bad.
That's good. That's still pretty good. It's
cheaper than ammo.
Yeah, ammo's expensive.
Ammo is it's not that bad when you consider.
Well, yeah, but it's been lower. Just like
it has been
literally
lower.
Everything else.
Thanks. I will say though, like, everyone's getting so angry because the Federal Reserve met these past 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they raised interest rates, to combat the fact that they put, like 3 installments of $1.9 trillion or whatever, or billion.
Right.
into a bunch of economies. So everyone's like, "Oh, this is all Biden's fault." I mean, yes and no. Yes, it sucks that we're gonna have to pay higher prices, but it's gonna try and combat inflation because our inflation's the highest it's been in 40 years. So
Yeah. And
hooray for macroeconomics, everyone!
yeah, that's just like that's barely politics. That's just learning.
That's just
American politics. If you didn't gather that, I don't know
Yeah.
if we have any like foreign listeners, but
We probably don't. We
oh,
barely
well,
have any American.
Hey, at one point, we barely have any American listeners. But when I had 50 subscribers, most of my audience was German. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, exactly. That
Ooh,
silence.
Gunther!
Yeah. I was really tempted to make a really like funny video, just like Germany, thank you, like just really sarcastic. But,
I do want to go to the Autobahn though. It'd be fun.
Forge of Empires. That was the reason, I think. The videos.
Oh,
The
you
Forge of
played that
Empires.
game?
I still do a little bit. I'm not
Oh,
as
my
into it,
word.
but
I played that game a lot. No, I didn't play that game. I played a different one. It was
It
so
was-
dumb.
it was more popular. It's like a city building. Style
Yeah,
game.
I know what it is. It's the
Yeah.
stupid mobile city building game.
It's not mobile. I play it only on desktop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, anyway, it's still stupid. Because, for those of you who don't know, I hate this type of game. Those kind of mobile, the kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Because they basically just promote microtransactions at all costs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely a microtransaction heavy game.
Yeah.
Like you can definitely like spend $100 and like not like you'll advance, but then you'll feel like you need to spend another $100.
Yeah.
I've spent zero money on the game, but
Yeah.
speaking of spending money on games,
Oh,
Ross
yeah.
and I have both fell victim to Rainbow Six Siege Year 7
We have.
Year 7
Well, we've fallen
pass.
victim to it in general, but yesterday we both bought the Year 7 pass.
Yep.
because we're suckers for things like that.
Listen, and the reason I can justify it in my mind is like I spend a lot of time playing with you, playing with Nathan, playing with all these other people, and I spend enough time on the game already, so why not get a little bit extra reward out?
Yeah.
Just because I do spend so much time playing it with other people, and it's more for like a social aspect at this point. Like I play to like talk to people, and that's like my social life. So like I'm not like, it's gonna sound really weird, but like I meet more with people over the internet now than I do in real life, probably. If I wasn't going to school, I would meet with people more virtually than I would actually like being there with them, right?
We're going to have to work on that over the summer, Jonah.
Okay. Well, over the summer I'm not going to be able to play, but that's a different story. So we're going to talk a little bit about Rainbow Six Siege and like the update that came to it. So Year 7, this is Year 7 of
should
Rainbow
we
Six
outline
Siege.
them of our main topic for today?
Our main topic?
Yes.
It'll be in the title, so they should already know what the main
Yeah,
topic
but
today.
we might want to say it, you know.
Uncharted?
Uncharted
Yeah.
the movie,
Yeah, we're
not
gonna
the video games.
I mean, you've played the video game, so you can give us a little insider knowledge on that.
Yeah.
When it comes
I
to that.
don't remember them because this has been about 4 or 5 years ago when I first bought my PS4.
Right.
My PS4 came with the Uncharted collection for the games, if you all remember that. So I played them because at the time those were the only 3 games I had besides Star Wars Battlefront 2, FIFA, and Madden, or Battlefront 2015, not 2.
Mm-hmm.
Has it? Holy shit! I just realized I've had my PS4 for 7 years.
That's entirely possible, yes.
Because I bought it in 2015, because that's when the game came out, November 2015, and I bought it. I've had it for 6.5. It'll be 7 years this upcoming November.
Wow.
6.5 years.
That means I've had the Wii for like 12 years.
Yes.
It's like, that's
Dude.
insane to think about anyway. But let's talk about Siege a little bit first.
Yep.
So Azami, the new character, what have you seen of this character, and do you like Azami as a character? She's a defensive character.
I like her as a character so far. I mean, I think one of the cool things I will say she adds with her, so for those of you who don't know, her special ability is she basically throws throwing knives that turn into that turn into barriers that are very hard to breach.
Circular barriers, yeah.
And it makes it really interesting because it can help defend, or it can clog up holes that you otherwise really can't clog up. It's a really good skill. I will say my problem with it currently is just how big it is. I don't like how big it is, just because it is, and that might be something I have to
use. Seems a little bit broken.
It seems a little bit broken. I'm not saying remove her outright from the game or anything like that. I'm just saying make it a little bit smaller so they don't have as much wiggle room.
Right.
Like, the way she gets them is she gets them like lesion.
You did what I did the other night.
I did, but you do it more. Lesion. So she gets like 5 of them over a time, so she can save them for whenever, which is really helpful. But I think they should be a bit smaller just to help with, because her ability blocks line of sight, and that's one of the core principles that Rainbow Six Siege really likes, is how can you affect a line of sight and all that stuff.
So how I've seen her used currently in the game, which if you've played like an hour or two of Siege, you've seen her in unranked matches or ranked matches or whatever you play. You've seen her, I'm sure. And the main reason, what she's used for right now is creating different angles and doorways. So she'll throw it at a doorway and she'll create like a little, because it's circular, you won't be able to go through that doorway, but you'll create like little cracks, a little crevice on the side of the door that you can like peek through, and like players aren't expecting it. And another thing she's used for is like to cover up breaches. So if I breach using Ace's hard breach, that little square, she can throw her thing at it and cover it up, and then I either break it by meleeing it, or I just like rotate to a different place. So it's kind of like a deterrent to keep players like out of somewhere. It's used to cover up drone holes as well, though I haven't gotten that yet.
Yeah, that's mostly because there's probably too many drone holes to count. I mean,
yeah, well, if there's one specific one on Chalet. I want to say Chalet and the basement by Wine Cellar. If you do Wine Cellar, Garage, defense, you can cover that drone hole within a zombie thing, and that keeps the drones out. So like if you want to cover one that goes directly from outside, you can do that now with a zombie. I call her zombie just because it's funny. But
funny joke.
Funny joke. So yeah, no, she's a cool character, and now that I have access to her, I'll be using her, I think, in the same ways, but I think it's gonna be interesting to see how she's used in the future, because she's a new character, how new ways are gonna develop.
Yeah,
because
that's gonna be really...
and that's what I like about a character like this, is it completely changes the entirety of the game and makes this game so much more replayable.
Yeah, I would agree. I still like Azami as a character. For those of you, like, my criticisms are still that her thing is a little bit too big.
Yeah, and maybe they'll nerf that. I don't know. Like, it's hard to know 100%, but we'll see. We'll see how that happens.
But that could just be me being stupid. Like, not checking my corners and not getting down on the floor and butt scooching and doing all that fun stuff. Otherwise, but yeah, I think, like, the first time we actually get into the battle pass, or the tier system, or whatever, and that video plays of her, I really liked that video. It was very well done. So yeah, but otherwise, I think Azami's great. I mean, I still default to my boy Capkin.
Yeah, we both play trap operators. My main defense is Frost. But recently I've been playing Legion.
You've been playing Legion a little bit.
And I'm kind of enjoying Legion. I wouldn't say his ability is, like, out of this world. But it's just kind of fun to, like, place things on the ground, like his Legion mines on the ground. Because if it's stepped on, you know where the enemy is, right?
So. Sort of. It depends where you put them. Like, if you have them all the way around, and someone's close enough to hear it, then yes. But if you're, like, standing in the opposite corner and you can't hear it go off, and all you see is just the thing that says, Legion mine tripped,
right,
or whatever, and you get the points for it, then I'm like, okay, where?
Yeah.
And, then I'm usually able to communicate to whoever and say, yo, someone's over by you.
Right.
But this is why I appreciate Capkin's Mines a lot more, is because you hear a very audible
It's very loud boom, yeah. Yeah, that's hard to miss. And I've been playing Lion a lot, too.
Yeah, you have been.
Lion is, I'm enjoying that. I'm starting, I've only played, 150 hours? Which people like, only? It's like, in Rainbow Six Siege time, that's like nothing.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I was going to say, I'm only at like 50 currently.
Yeah.
And that's mostly because I have a busier schedule than this guy right here. I'm a very busy man.
That could be. That's probably it. But yeah.
Yeah.
I have... In Rainbow Six Siege time, you need at least, 300 hours to be considered, oh, you kind of know what you're doing.
Yeah, I was going to say...
I still am learning... You always learn about something in Rainbow Six Siege. I don't think you ever stop learning. But the thing about the game right now, where I'm at in the game right now, is that I'm still learning callouts. I know the maps pretty well now. I know where to put my stuff. I just don't know the names of the specific rooms for callouts. So White Stairs on Cafe, or I know some of them, but I don't know all of them. And so that's kind of the next step of Rainbow Six Siege gameplay that I'm at. And I don't know the place for all my shields yet. There's still some aspects that I'm not 100% on, but you're always learning and you're always trying to figure out new strats that are going to work and stuff like that.
Yeah, people may keep on finding my Capkin Mines, which I'm not happy about, but then again, they still keep on running into them, which still makes me happy.
Yeah.
And I say, moving on to other new stuff in Rainbow Six, Jonah, what's your opinion on TDM? They added Team Deathmatch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good. I forgot about that. So Team Deathmatch is interesting. It's so quick.
It's very quick.
And chaotic. I find... this didn't happen all the time, but a couple times I'd spawn in and just die instantly. And that doesn't feel good, but you can spawn in 3 seconds and just continue. So, I'm not going to say it's a bad game mode. It's good for something if you want just something really quick to do and play.
Yeah.
But, it's chaotic. It's interesting. It's fun to be able to, use different...
Use all the operators.
Use different operators and all that stuff.
I've heard, at least what Nathan says, it's really good for actually learning recoil control.
Mm-hmm.
I will say the spawns in that game mode are horrific. Just because, and it's not a fault really of Ubisoft. I was gonna say Ubisoft, and I don't know why.
Right.
But it's more the way that they've designed all these maps to be, about sneaking around and, long, short corridors, angles, all this stuff for tactical gameplay. TDM is not tactical gameplay.
No, it's just chaos.
It's just chaos. So I have a feeling in the near future they might actually release some only TDM maps.
I think that is their plan.
Yeah,
and I would be surprised if it wasn't, but just to start, they're just here's some bigger maps, just figure it out.
I think their main plan for at least the TDM maps is to first implement TDM, see if there's any problems with it, fix those, and then get the maps in so it's balanced when they get to the maps.
Yep. And I think it's good for Siege to have a quicker game
mode.
mode.
It's really nice, too, because then...
And we haven't seen it yet, but they are eventually going to add, a practice...
A practice
area where you can just shoot the guns and not have to worry about any enemies or something. I haven't seen that yet, and if it's in the game, I haven't found it yet. But no, I don't think that's in the game yet. But I can't wait. That was my one thing about Rainbow Six Siege that I was upset about when I first started playing. Is I don't want to enter a terrorist round where I'm going to get shot by enemies. I just want to sit here and I want to figure out my recoil, figure out my gun, figure out these characters and what they do.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. I think that was more for just, instead of getting experience in some random training room and just kind of being there, I think it was a lot more getting experience within the actual game.
Yep.
Which I find a little bit more valuable, but still, I would not mind a training area where you can just sit and plink around.
Yeah.
Especially for some of the operators that are a little bit more tricky.
Yeah, exactly. And just to figure, and being able to switch characters, switch parts on their gun, so you can figure out what you like better and what you don't. and like all that stuff that would be so beneficial, and it sounds like they're finally adding that at some point this year.
At some point.
Which is a year is quite a bit of time for them to actually do that. So
Yep.
That's Rainbow Six Siege. I know not all our listeners are into it, but me and Ross both are, so I just figured we'd have a little conversation. But let's talk about Uncharted now, because the new movie starring Tom Holland. Oh boy, who else?
Mark Wahlberg.
I
I forget who played Chloe. I think she was kind of an unknown. Who's the original bad guy?
So it's Tom Holland.
Mark Wahlberg. Antonio Banderas was the main bad guy until he...
Sophia Ali was Chloe.
Sophia Ali.
Yeah, and those are the main guys.
Oh.
So as a whole, I thought the movie was pretty good. I rated, I think, a 7 or an 8 out of 10. I wouldn't say it was perfect, but the third act was definitely worth the wait. I wasn't sitting there in the third act just like, all right, all of the movie led up to this. This is bullcrap.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't at that point. I was sat there thinking, yeah, this is actually entertaining. I'm enjoying what's going on. Overall thoughts, Ross?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I'd say about the same rating at a 7.5. I mean, and for my ratings, I usually give them I usually put like a sentence along with them. Like, for instance, like I'll say it's a rating 7.5, but I'll say it's either a rating 7.5. I probably wouldn't watch this movie again though. Like, it's still a good movie, but it's not what I'd watch. Like, I'll give you an example. Joker. I'd give it an 8.5 to a 9. I thought it was an amazing movie. You know, Joker 2019. But it's not a movie I really, want to sit down and watch again.
Right.
It's not, it's something I've seen once and I'm like, I remember it pretty well. But at the same time, I just didn't...
Your mind might change in the next, 10 years. You might be like, huh.
I might want to rewatch the movie again.
I might want to rewatch that.
I'd still rate it as a really good movie. But Uncharted is a 7.5, obviously due to the fact that it's not, the greatest movie ever, but this is a movie I would sit down and watch again in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I thought, especially with playing the first 3 Uncharted games, I haven't gotten to Uncharted 4 yet, sorry.
Oof.
I didn't buy it.
I haven't played any of them.
That's okay. I think I stole the disc, so we should play them sometime. They're fun games, they're great games, obviously. One of the, obviously when you get down to the movie, I really appreciated Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, because they held up the movie for most of it. Antonio Banderas as the villain was pretty good. He was fine. Although his plan was kind of convoluted, it was still made sense, and it made sense more than the other chick.
Chloe?
Not Chloe, no, the other chick. The one who killed him.
Oh.
That.
Yeah, her.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that chick. So there were 2 villains. So there's Antonio Banderas as, I forget his name, but he's part of this ultra rich family, and his dad decided to give away the fortune because he saw what Antonio's character was doing and said, hey, no, I don't want you to do that, so I'm giving it away, for charity and, look good before I die, heart change stuff. And then Antonio Banderas has someone kill him
Yep.
and stuff like that. But that's in what?
That's an Act 2-ish.
Act 2-ish.
It's around Act 2.
But anyway, so there's this other lady who follows him around, who is a mercenary, and she knows Sully from something.
Chloe? Are you talking Chloe now?
Not Chloe. The other, the African lady. I forget what.
Oh, her character name was Braddock. I feel like they didn't say that a lot in the movie.
They said it. It's just very hard to understand. Oh yes. So Braddock, who was played by
Tati Gabrielle.
Gabrielli.
Gabrielli?
I don't
I've
know.
never heard of her, but she did well for the part. I wasn't I wasn't disappointed in anybody's performance.
Yeah, I was just say her motivation was just money, and it didn't really, and it didn't really shock me, to say the least, when Antonio was killed by her in the start of the third act, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it was just kind of a really... I kind of wanted to see this go through with Antonio Banderas. Is that how you say his name? Banderas?
Yeah, we'll go
Banderas?
with it. If we're wrong, people yell at us in the comments, or nobody will care.
Oh,
So.
I don't. Fine. I can't read anyway, so
That's right. You can't read the comments.
I can't read. Ha! You fools! No. So yeah, but it's a movie I'd enjoy. It's a movie I'd enjoy. I would watch it again just because it is a fun, campy movie. Don't get anything mixed up. It is 100% a video game movie. It is fun. It is campy. There are things that happen in this movie that would not happen in real
life, or like
in real life,
yeah,
or a more serious movie. So
it knew what this movie knew what it was trying to do and what it was.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like whenever a movie knows what it wants to be, besides a movie that's like hodgepodging around, Eternals. when a movie like doesn't know what it wants to be, it lacks like me caring, right?
Yeah.
So with Eternals, it was a good movie. I don't think I ever talked about it on this podcast. But my problem with Eternals was it was trying to focus in on 7 new characters that nobody had met. And it was trying to each give them a spotlight. But when you're trying to split the spotlight 7 times, you don't know who you should give a rip about, right?
Yeah.
So, and the Uncharted, to bring it back to what we're actually talking about, Uncharted didn't have that. Uncharted, you knew who they were focused on. The focus was Tom Holland's character and his relationship with his brother. That was like the underlying motivation of him. Like the brother was very rarely in the movie, but that was the underlying emotion that you were supposed to connect with, and that this movie did that really well.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Holland, I gotta give props to him, because the problem with being in the MCU right now, we saw this with actors like Captain America's Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr. They all like left the MCU spotlight per se, and something I think each of them said is it's hard to find a different role in a movie, even though they're so popular and made so much money off these Marvel movies. It's hard for them to for people to see them as anyone else, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I got to give credit to Tom Holland that I didn't see him as Spider-Man in this movie. I saw him as his character.
Yeah.
So
I would I would agree. Tom Holland really did a great job playing Nathan Drake. And I will throw a quick disclaimer out there. He's not as tall. I've played the video game, so he's not as tall as Nathan Drake is supposed to be. But it doesn't matter. If you ever see any reviews online for anyone that says, "Oh, Tom Holland's a terrible Nathan Drake because of all these reasons," and they list the video game reasons, don't listen to him. No, he was awesome. Tom Holland did a really good job of kind of portraying the easygoingness and slipperiness of Nathan Drake. That's one thing you will find out in the video games. Nathan Drake is a very slippery, very easygoing, very sarcastic character. So it was really good. So it was just kind of a good role for him to fit in. Like it drew him away from the kind of younger innocence of Spider-Man in the MCU where he's at, where he's kind of starting to figure out into more of this. And he completely switched roles into Nathan Drake, who is sarcastic, easygoing, witty, a little bit more like that. And he did a really good job. I'll give the example of, in the movie, he was, during like the first act, he got a bracelet off of, a college girl or something?
Mm-hmm.
Or daddy's trust fund girl or whatever. And it was just really slick on how he did it.
And that was exactly like the character. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's a Nathan Drake thing to do.
You mentioned like people complaining about Tom Holland not fitting the character. He's not tall enough. Yada yada yada. I don't want an exact replica of the video game in the movie, right? I don't want an exact replica because then I'll just play the video games.
Yeah.
I appreciated that this movie, it didn't diverge from the storyline.
This was before the games even started.
Yeah, okay. So like, it didn't, try to break immersion.
The only three characters that really mattered in that movie were Nathan Drake, Sully, and Chloe. Because all 3 of them come back, obviously.
Yep.
Because, they're kind of the focus of the main story, or at least Nathan Drake and Sully are.
Yep.
But yeah, so
It's
it's a
the when it comes to like making video games into movies, it's a tough line to toe because you don't want to be that cheesy, like, oh yeah, we're just doing it because we want to.
You know, you still want to make a good enough movie to where it can be seen as a movie, but you don't want it to. But you don't want to make it so campy that it's literally just video game logic.
Yeah.
To that.
And this movie, I think, did a good job of being a movie and not trying to be a video game movie, right?
Until the third act, when I have not a bone to pick with it, but just like this shouldn't even be possible. Like
the whole like fight scene.
No, the helicopter scene where they literally towed the.
Yeah, the fight scene.
That's not the fight scene. That's the helicopter scene. Or is it the fight scene? I'm not sure.
I mean, the helicopter. They fought in the air. Okay, so at the end of the movie, spoilers ahead. The Ben girl, the evil girl, Braddock. Thank you. Braddock took the boats with the riches that Nathan found, and she lifted them out of the pot, and she was gonna bring them to her ship, and like take all the wealth for herself. But Sully and Nathan took over one of the helicopters and started to fly away with it, and so what was her name? Braddock. Braddock. Why is that a name? Like, that's such a weird name.
It's
Braddock.
British. She was British. We don't care.
So the evil woman. So the evil woman started chasing them down in a boat instead of like cutting her losses and being like, okay, I got half, they got half, whatever. She started chasing them, and eventually her ship gets like utterly destroyed. She falls in the water, and away goes Nathan and.
Well, the chase scene happens because what happens is Nathan Drake and Sully were hiding in one of the boats, and they got up. They took control of one of the helicopters, and then they literally swung the crane helicopter into that ravine. Very tight ravine, which is what you don't want to do with the crane helicopter.
Yeah, that was right after she started chasing them.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was like the one scene I had a real, not a problem.
Yeah,
but just
I heard you. We were in the theater together. I heard you like, what? Don't you? Like, you literally reacted to his idea. You were like, no, don't do that. You were just kind of like, that's not going to end well for you, but obviously it was fine.
It was fine, because that's the only part where it got really, video game campy for me, because I'm like, no, do something else, and then it's like, oh, you did that. I'm like,
yeah. Like, because the swing of the way that ship would have swung with a turn that tight would have definitely not been, like...
great.
Would have definitely smashed into the rocks, right?
Yes.
It definitely wouldn't have made that turn, actually. So I'll agree with you. That was the one part that was kind of like questionable.
Yeah.
But like I can forgive that because it was still kind of cool.
Yeah. Like it was still cool, but I was still like, did you really have to put that in there? But anyway, so we talked about Nathan Drake, we Sonic Crazy / Tom Holland. Let's see, who else?
I don't think any of the actors' performances was bad.
No,
I was totally into it the whole way through. I thought Tom Holland's love interest, what's her name?
Chloe.
Chloe? That is Chloe? Yeah, I thought Chloe, which is Sophia Ali. Is that it? Sophia Ali?
Yeah.
Sophia Ali, she did really well, I thought, for her character. Like, I definitely expected her to turn on them at some point. Like, I didn't expect her to actually, like...
She did turn on him.
Yeah, I expected that, I'm saying. But,
yeah.
like, I was still upset when it happened. And is she the love interest in the games as well? Or how does that work?
Oh, boy, do we have a story to tell you.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, so basically in the games, if you've played the Uncharted series, you know how it starts out. So by the time the game starts, Nathan Drake is a semi-famous amateur historian / artifact finder. So he has this one lady who's trying to make a story on him. I forget her name. Elena, I think. Elena, something like that. That's her name. She blonde chick, but so she kind of films them, and then she gets dragged into the first adventure of the original Uncharted games, they hit it off, and then they kind of. So they hit it off at the end of the game because he finds, I forget what he finds.
Chloe and Nathan.
No, Elena and Nathan.
Elena. So wait, how does this connect to Chloe?
I'm getting there, Jonah.
Okay.
So they hit it off at the end. In between 1 and 2, they kind of fall off, and that's 2 is where Chloe comes back in, and she kind of does some. She and Nathan do some stuff. And
do some stuff. I
don't remember, Jonah.
Like mess around or like.
I'm fine. I'm gonna search up the.
Because this is an important plot point. If they mess around,
Jonah, shut up.
And Nathan has a baby.
They don't have a baby. They do not have a baby. I can tell you that. The humor and the references to the video games in the movie, always great.
Yeah, that was a standout aspect. Like the guy on the beach. The mustache at the end.
The guy so there was a guy on the beach, which is the same. Okay, so that resort is the same resort that Nathan Drake, Chloe Fraser, and Harry Flynn meet up in the second game.
Yep.
That was the reference there, and Nolan North in the movie is just sitting there on a beach chair and says, "What is he saying?" And he says something.
I've done that or something.
Yeah.
Like it's something just so like obvious nod, and like I think. Tom Holland and Chloe were like just kind of looked at him like, what? Okay, whatever. Like they didn't think much of it, but he's like, yeah, I've been there, I've done that, and they just kind of look at him funny.
No, they had to because they probably knew who he was,
right?
Or maybe they did. I don't know, but the humor was great. The references were great,
and they didn't overdo the references.
Oh no, they made him funny. The cat that Sully got because Nathan told him to.
Yeah,
the cat was.
The cat was funny.
It came out at the end that Sully loves the cat.
But is the cat okay? Like that was an ongoing reference. Yeah.
Or when they were in that one country trying to find whatever, and then they're like, "Did you know it takes like a different? It takes like special paperwork to get a cat on a plane?" And Nathan's like, "You brought the cat?" Or something like that.
Yeah. He's like, "You brought the cat?" He was just so confused. I'm like, meow. Yeah, that was good. There was some good funny moments, some good serious moments, some good like that end fight scene. As I said, was great. It was a good lead up to that. So yeah, overall, a great movie. Highly advise that you go watch it. And I think that's gonna wrap this up. So thank you guys for watching. Listening. If you're watching, again, I say this every time.
Balls.
I don't. Well, I do say that. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. With podcasting, I'm trying to do it not as often. I'm not trying to do it every week. I'm just trying to space it out a little bit. Because 50-minute episodes, 40 to 50-minute episodes is a lot for people to chew and swallow. And if I'm doing that every week. And everyone's gonna get sick of it, so I'm trying to like disperse my content between gaming videos, podcasts, stuff like that.
Dispersion is a good thing.
We'll see what happens, but again, any links you need down in the description. Thank you guys for watching.
What if I need a link to an adult toy store?
Why are you here then? Why are you here? Oh my word. When life gives you lemons, steal some fruit.